me watch. All right, we are live finally. Okay, let's set the stage. Let's see if our live is actually live. All right. Hello, everyone. This is part of the KodeMaster Hackathon expert session. I'll be hosting today's session. This is Vijay Ganesan. This is uh, part of the company called KodeMaster AI. Um, the AI is like conducting the hackathon called Build with KodeMaster AI, which is being hosted which is like already live, and the actual event will be like starting during the March month. This is like part of that session, and then the actual event will be happening on like 20th March, and then there will be various like sessions will be included. And we will be like making the actual problem statement live in few days. Once it is live, and you guys can brainstorm the sessions, and the actual event will start from 16th March to 20th March. During the time, the students has to develop and then share the GitHub repositories, and then we have like Discord server, and then you can also like reach out via the email and chat, all those options. And there will be a final submission which is on like 20th March by 10 a.m. IST, and your project will be judged on various criterias. And once the project submission is over, the top people will be given an opportunity to pitch your ideas to the industry experts for the investment opportunities up to 25 lakhs. And the students also will be awarded with a prize up to a 1 lakh at a various categories. And I will be judging as well in that session, and I got a very privileged to invite some of the industry leaders in the session. I am honored to introduce Mr. Vinit Mojes and Akhilesh Vyawahare. They will be judging the session as well, and along with them, there will be more people as well. I will hand over the sessions to them to kind of introduce themselves, and then what are they expecting really from you guys. I'll start with Mr. Vinit.
Yeah, hey everyone. This is Vinit Mojes, originally from Nagpur, India, but I've been based out of Houston for a very, very long time now, which is, I don't even know, like 12, 13, 14 years now. Um, so fun times ahead. As I was listening to Vijay, excited to be part of this initiative, as I hear that there's going to be 1,000+ teams that those will be joining or participating in the KodeMaster hackathon, and I will be, like Vijay mentioned, I will be one of the judges. But I'll get to the judging part of it. But back to my introductions, right? So I did my engineering, I did my MBAs way back. I'm having a senior moment right now, just thinking about when I did my MBA. After my MBA, I also did a small entrepreneurial course from Stanford University in California, and worked for several different organizations, including Infosys, Cognizant, and then I've been part of the consulting wing of Ernst & Young for the past 10 years. Oh my God, I'm growing older. All of these numbers are growing on me. So that's pretty much about myself. And when I first started, my overall objective was just to, just get a job, and then maybe try out new countries and new companies. But looks like I've come a little further than that. I'm privileged enough to lead the government and public sector, the practice that where we do technology consulting for major U.S. government agencies. Those includes anywhere from state agencies to federals, and helping them modernize their operations. So that has been significant, and that translate into automatically into the multi-million dollar projects that we're doing. But so that's then maybe my experience working with them and how AI is creeping into everything that we're doing. I will talk about that in just a little bit, and what my expectation is if I'm putting my money into your initiatives. I will be covering what are the things that I expect. But before I do that, Akhilesh, you wanna introduce yourself?
Hey, thanks, Vinit. Thanks, Vijay. I am Akhilesh Vyawahare. I'm based in Houston too, just like Vijay and Vinit. So I have more than 17 years of experience. So my journey grew from being a technical hands-on developer, having experience in Oracle database administration, all the way to, business process consulting. So today I've worked across multiple organizations, not just from a technical standpoint, but my journey evolved from, being a developer to a technical consultant to a technology consultant, considering the background that I have today of the organization. So I have helped a lot of organizations, Fortune 500, Fortune 50 organizations, even in the banking and financial sectors with their, data privacy initiatives, governance and risk initiatives, as well as regulatory compliance as well. I've also helped them, streamline their, day-to-day operations or operations across various departments, so that they are capable of, optimizing their day-to-day operations and getting the most ROI out of it, right? So that is how my journey was laid out. Now I have been consulting a lot of companies in the data side of things as well. What are the when so digital transformation was a buzzword back then, but now it is slowly coming to a reality. So I've helped a lot of organizations transform their operations and also help them measure their performance parameters, as well as put data points across their operations to minimize their spend, remove their blockers, and maximize the employees utilization towards more and more productivity. So what I'm seeing, there are a lot of buzzwords. AI industry, or the industry, is growing so fast today. So what I'm seeing is, there are certain myths that I'm seeing in the industry that the industry wants to go toward, but then how is the main point, where how are we accelerating these organizations towards their AI future, right? So towards their autonomous future. So I'm seeing a lot of use cases around service desk and service desk automation, including the voice agent throughout the end financial operations as well. So I'm very excited for what the 1,000 teams or the 1,000 people are bringing on the table, and I'm really excited for this hackathon as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just to give it up, like I think the hackathon is already gone to like 1,500 people, and then like since there are like a couple of weeks, and then we are like expecting more. Just to give my background as well, this is like Vijay Ganesan, principal software engineer from Mastercard, lives in US, Houston as well. I known these two gentlemen from a long time. Like we generally are from my like career side, we develop a tool for the other developments, other like developers, basically like a development tool for the developers, and we are kind of enablers in that sense. I take care of Docker, I take care of the GitHub adoption, I take care of the AI Copilot. Like AI being the buzzword, I take care of how Mastercard position themselves into a agentic development world, and we like successfully just like rolled out this like moving from from various KCM to the GitHub as like, I mean, unified layer now. And also we like support other like development platforms and lifecycle as well. So we have been, so we all three is kind of associated with like a KodeMaster in terms of like judging this hackathon and then advising their like journey. That's how we are all being here. Yeah, so as I know, like these are all my friends. We meet every week or every day, and we known them forever. And then like it's very good to see in this official platform. That said, let's start with like what are you guys are expecting from the students for this hackathon? Who wanna go first?
Yeah, so let me pick up where I dropped, right, which is I first of all I'm going to be very cautious where I put my hard-earned money because it has costed me my years. So obviously the judging criteria would be very strict. So I think from my standpoint, these are the five things I'm looking for. The number one is the team. When I say team, it's mostly referring to the passion that you bring to the table with your idea, how passionate you are about. Are you really passionate about solving something, or are you just buying into the trend of starting a startup, which just sounds cool, but the reality is entirely different when you get your hands dirty. So that's number one. Team is extremely important. Who you are, what your vision is, with not just the product but yourself as well. How do you see yourself 10 years down the line? The second one is a problem statement. For the problem statement, make sure that you're solving a problem for a specific requirement, and the problem statement does not cover all of India or all of US or all of rest of the world. So it has to be very targeted. The third one is, I think it's pretty much in line with the problem statement, is the market, which is do you have your market demographics, geographics specifically defined? Like, who is this for? Is this gender based? Is this particularly for an age group 18 to 25, 25 to 35? Is this a solution for seniors? So that's the third one. The other two I'll quickly cover, which is the execution capacity. Do you have enough understanding on the startup ecosystem where you would judge like what are the steps you'll need to take in order to at least get this off its feet? Okay, because or if not that, which is if you don't know anything, that's perfectly fine. But your ability to ask help, like when we get into these sessions and when we're talking about, okay, let's just go ahead and fund these projects, then do you know what you would require from the investors and apart from the money that you're asking for? And finally, what's the velocity at which you can move, which is how fast you can move through these things, how fast you can figure out things, and do you have a vision for the project that's put in front of us. So that's how I have done it for the other ones that we've just, or the startups that we've created ourselves, and I don't think it's changing anything on that, just continuing on the same model. What do you guys think?
No, absolutely. I was spot on the passion part because what I have seen, especially when I was growing up, if somebody is going in the field of engineering, there will be hundred or thousands of people that will be going for engineering. So now is the era of startups. So I don't want some, because some of your friends are doing a startup, you are doing a startup. So I'm very much aligned on what Vinit is saying in that area. Passion is really important, being very specific. If you have identified a specific problem and you are solving that problem, that is really ideal for me as well. But I'm also interested in seeing whether people are able to use or leverage AI in their day to day. How are they planning to integrate their AI for building their solution? One, how are they leveraging let's say there are some technical skills that that will be required for building this their solution. So how are they leveraging the current tools, for example, KodeMaster AI, right? So how are they leveraging certain tools to fulfill their skill gaps, and then how are they leveraging these tools in managing their weaknesses of those skills, or maybe upbuilding or building those skills for those areas. So that will be number two. Thirdly, if from again from a technology standpoint, what are the areas that they can explore, right? So are there any robotic use cases? Are there any use cases that include one or more technologies, not just coding? I also want them to think about, hey, how can I scale this system. I also want them to think about the scalability. I also want them to have some system thinking. I also want them to have how can they leverage the blockchain and AI, for example. So um, from an innovation standpoint, I want them to look at it. So that is just the technology aspect of it, right? The secondly, how when they're planning to solve a problem, how are they approaching? Technology is just one portion of it, one part of it. How are they planning to scale or take this to various people, various states, or even think about marketing this, or even sales? So maybe their 30, 60, 90 days plan on how they're planning to take their solution from their hands, whatever they have built, to the masses, to the people who they really want to help. So I also want to see that aspect of things. Yeah, that's from my side.
If I can, so Vijay, if I can add something to
Sure.
that, which is now that these 1,500 plus team members are going to come in and pitch their ideas, so you really need to differentiate yourself from rest of them. Now, how do you do that? Which is my, at least I'll tell you my expectation, and students or team members are free to um, opt into it, which is I expect the ideas to be converted into a MVP level application using some of the existing ecosystem, which is people can, well, I shouldn't use the word freely, but by not spending much, they should be able to make use of Claude Code or your OpenAI Codex or the whole new ecosystem with OpenClaw. Um, or if they have decent machine, they can even run a basic Olama and Mistral or DeepSeek models and run it on their computers. And I think it's only going to take them half a day to be able to generate an MVP prototype, which they can actually present. So the era that we're walking into is less about coding, but it's more about execution of that idea, because that's like all the what I've seen in the consulting world is all the general stuff, which is gathering requirements, coding, confirming it with the clients, UAT. That will eventually, not that far off, it will go away. But and then what remains is the high value addition from the humans, which is okay. This is the idea. What do we want to do from here? So basically, what I'm trying to say is if we can leverage those systems that's available these days and come up with an working app, and not every single UI component or backend component has to work, but if you can help us visualize what you're saying, that's going to be a winning combination.
And I know this is more
Okay.
targeted towards the students. So I think the evolution of thought process is, I wanted to give this to the students as well, because when I was growing up, when I was coming out of college, I wanted to do something of my own, right? So um, all I thought was, okay, I need to have a solution, and then the best product will win in the market. But that is not true. That is just half true. Having a product is just the first step. There are other steps that that you have to think about. Hey, do I have the right team? Do I have the right
The
team
best
for
execution will
supporting?
work win
Correct.
these days.
So do I have
Yeah.
the right team? Do I have the right team to, take this further? How am I planning to build my team? Not just technology thinking, but also innovation, as well as how am I going to scale up. So, all these aspects matter while
Right.
building a startup.
Okay. Yeah. I think, I mean, you both are like spot on. If I can add like maybe like a two lines to that, uh, problem and like solutioning is the first thing. Um, I mean, you can build like sexy toys, but if you're not really solving the just like right problem, then it's not gonna cut. And then just like second thing, being like technical engineer, I know that like how people like carried away by building a sexy solution, meaning having like a lot of like complexities in the tool, and then building a fancy just like, I mean, your like libraries or tools just like added into your like solution. So goal is not build a cool technology for yourself. It should solve the people, or it should solve the problem for the people. So I think like those are the two things I'm going to look at it. um I would like to put being just like devil's advocate, right? So you can tell like any AI tool, or for that matter, like any agentic platform like a Cloud Code or a Open Cloud, if you tell your problem, it is gonna build, right? Then what are we really expecting from the people, like what they have to do it? And while you guys are like doing it, uh, are we okay with them using a tool, like first of all? And Vinith, you said it like, I mean, it is like already okay, but like at like what extent do they have to like put their brain into it, or just vibe code and then build a cool toy?
So, but the easiest thing you can do right now, I think most of the people here watch Rash Shamani's and the other popular podcasts, right? So there was a suggestion made on one of these things, which was use emergent AI to visualize any idea that's in your brain. So if you're not able to actually build a working prototype using Claude Code or Codex or any of the other platforms, just use Emergent AI. They give you free credits, like 100 credits to begin with. That's more than enough to put that on an HTML format or a PDF document with all the screenshots, or it can even build a landing page of what you are talking about. So help us visualize. That will help us connect to the ideas, because just think about us going through 1500 plus ideas will fry our brains, and I don't know, all the biases will kick in at that point. So whoever puts in the hard work on going that extra mile and giving us at least what the future looks like in terms of that idea, that would be super helpful.
Absolutely. And, that is just so, I know that Vinit is currently working on 3 to 4 projects of his own, using OpenClaw and stuff. That is just for ideation and MVP, even though, what we are looking at from an MVP standpoint, yes, you can use these tools because, considering this is a hackathon event, but the investment, or the startup in its true sense. So yes, we are using, or we think that AI is going towards that automation, or that automation side, but companies will still be based on people for at least for a few years, right? Even though the number of people would be limited, but if some organizations are using, or if some people are using your apps or tools directly, then there should be a certain structure for, at least supporting that application, at least understanding or controlling how that application behaves. So, yes, you can build your tools, but then if we ask you to go deep dive into, what are these, how did you build this tool, and what are the specific areas that you have, asked that OpenClaw or Codex to code on, you should have an fair understanding of what you have built, even from a technology standpoint, not just functional standpoint.
So
Okay.
let me ask you this. Let me ask both of you this, which is so the fear of losing the job, right? job is real, right? And especially when it comes to the BA type roles or especially the coding roles. And the most technical person on this call is probably Vijay. So what you are doing or what your team members are doing in order to adopt or change into yourselves or the ways of working that you do so that you become secure proof and you lose that, you become more valuable and lose the fear of losing job.
Okay. That's, I think like we are just figuring it out as a kind of like technical people, like that's like fear is like real. Like we have to acknowledge that first. I'll just like again like answer in like a two part. One is that just like companies, like for that matter, like any companies are kind of forcing or like making the mandate that every technical people has to use AI. Like not only like technical people, every member, I mean, kind of like member of a team has to use a AI tool. There are like various tools, like people are like constantly evaluating, and then every week there are like new tools are just like coming in, right? So there is no option of okay whether I want to use AI or not. It is you have to use, but how you gonna use in your like day-to-day life is gonna define whether you gonna keep your job or not. Okay. And I will just like tell you those like second point, like that will make you like more understanding like why I'm saying you have to use AI tool, right? Okay, going back to the first point, how I use those days, I mean, I've been just like telling this just like before as well, right? Maybe just like 15 years ago, if you know the syntax really well, and if you know how to debug, or if you know how to deploy your project, then you will be like considered like a superstar in your team. But now all of the jobs are like just like taken over by AI, and they're doing so well that you don't need any people. That's what like people are thinking, and that is like that is partly true. But where is the catch is, you still need a people to like define the requirement and then validate the requirement from a non-technical people standpoint. But when you get the requirement, given like hundreds of variations or hundreds of opportunities to like build the exact same thing, what choice you are making as like technical person, what tool you are picking, what is the database you are picking, what is the, I mean, like way of operations, like way of handling the data, what is your like the SLOs, and like what is your just like failure mechanism, what happens if the underlying system is like giving you like response really so slow, and how do you like recover your system. So these are all the kind of judgment you have to make as a engineering person to give that input or like define that input in a way that AI understands it, and then AI
So
can like
let
really
me ask
build
you
it if you
this.
tell.
Sorry. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I was just gonna ask you, like, if all the bottom line jobs are going away or the entry level jobs are going away, how does one even get a job? Like if you're fresh out of college.
Yeah. You, I mean, given or being this like, I mean, knowledge and then the coding being like democratized across anybody, there is no real value of like whether you are having like 10 years experience or you just passed out of a college. If you know how to use a tool well, and then of course this, this like domain knowledge is going to really help you, and then being some sort of experienced with the how the tool can fail, that is kind of added advantage. Except those two things, everybody is like treated the same way. And even if you are like kind of like 20 years experience, you and then the college kid has to restart from a kind of from a same starting point, and everybody is like given a same opportunity. So now all it's all about your like solutioning aspects. That is what is going to change, right? So then read more about like system level understanding, like system level architecture, like what are all the various tool, like what are all the options. So that's what the students has to learn more. Coding is there, yes, you still have to like develop like there are like a certain portion of the people who really knows about this like syntax and then algorithm and programs. They will be really valued like a kind of like superstar again, because AI will like make all the coding and sometime it breaks. When it breaks, you need like real people who are like really experts. So instead of being just okayish engineer, either be a superstar engineer or understand the whole ecosystem and how do you use your AI and take that into your belt. Yeah.
So I'd like to
Yeah.
extend to
Truly,
this,
truly.
what we just said, right? So currently AI, as we all talk, right? So we meet every Friday and we talk about these things. So what I have come to realize is that, when you give instructions or when you build those prompts for AI, right, you need to at least know something in that industry, or the specific details of that role. So for example, if I have to build a website, I cannot just say, hey, build me a gym website, and then, yes, AI can build a basic structure for you, but then what is your differentiator, or the system that you are building, how are you building something from your side? What are you putting on your side, from your side? So AI is currently in that stage where, it can give you generalized solutions, but then to make them more specific to your needs, to make, a differentiator out of it as a company, that's how, I feel that the AI tools, or you matter in that equation. So that is one.
Yep.
Secondly, AI adoption, when we talk about, even so, I think the very first industry is the software development industry, because it was the closest. We had a lot of documentation, we had a lot of, coding, of or the various ways of coding documented either in the Stack Overflow, or a lot of documentation in that area. So that's why it was the very first target. It was the easiest target, because people just wanted to ideate and bring their ideas to life. So that was a quick win for everybody in the world. Now, there is a saying, too many chefs, right? So when AI is adopted, how I see this is, the operating systems companies, or even like Microsoft, Apple, or even the phone companies, they will eventually give platforms to build the applications for their own usage. But then, how about the collective usage of things? Because too many chefs, if we talk about it, one industry, there is one function. So I'm thinking from a consulting side. So there is one function within an organization, or it can be the main application as well. If there are 100 people who are trying to build features to that new tool that you have built, everything will be a chaos for that application, right? So there should be a streamlined approach. So currently AI won't go there, that you are building an enterprise level application of a team of 100 people or even 10 people, right? So that is, there is a long route to go for continuing on that journey. So I know that ultimately we are going towards autonomous tools to be built, but at least for now I see that there is a long way to go for us.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
what basically you guys are saying is, the high value thinking becomes more valuable, and the developers per se will not disappear, but the average developers will disappear, right? So you need to constantly learn and grow.
Either
So
they will be just like disappeared, or they have to evolve themselves to either go into that like kind of upskill themselves. I think like a lot of people are already like doing that.
yeah,
If you're not upskilling, yeah, then
And
these are
that's
the
there's
that's where
ones
we have tools like
who will get
KodeMaster.
hired. These are the ones who will get hired by this Upwork and Fiverr platform, where agents will be hiring humans to do tasks that they don't want to do it themselves.
yeah.
That's
So
very much
So
possible. Yes.
yeah, so I mean, just as a hook, I think like for those kind of people, I think like that's where the KodeMaster platform, where we are seeing there is a feature called build your own project from a scratch, meaning you just take a problem and then break down the steps more like systematically, and then the Codemaster will already help you with guiding that. Okay, hey, like say for example you want to build like Redis for yourself, and then Codemaster will help you to kind of like decompose all those like a whole ecosystem and give you like kind of a piecemeal where you can take it. It's not going to give you a solution. It's just going to just like give you kind of like systematic approach, and then you kind of develop that in your local ID, like how you actually work in the company, and you actually build it, validate it, break the system, and once you're good at it, then you kind of push back to the GitHub, and Codemaster instantly validates your code to say that whether you actually solved the problem or you just like vibe coded and then broke the existing thing. That's the key difference, right? I mean, you just give a AI, and then AI sometimes break things, and sometimes it doesn't build. I mean, it might think that it just like built, and then it can create that kind of illusion that it is actually working, but underneath the system might have broke. So that instant self verification is what is the key feature there. So the Codemaster is going to kind of verify you and then guide you, and then there is an AI companion will kind of help you to see if you like actually I mean, if you're like stuck, then the AI can help you to build that. And then at the end of the day, you just built an entire system. What that kind of like differentiate you, or what that make you to become that entry level engineer, or like kind of taking very like first level to the next level, is using that AI tool, building a real system end to end, and then understanding the architecture, understanding the system. So I think like I feel that's a very cool feature, and then I am using day by day. And then like the other day I was building my own load balancer. I've been using the load balancer forever, and then I really don't know how it's. I mean, I know how the why and how, but what it is going on just like underneath, and I mean inside it. And when I just like built, I got like really good insight. So that's about it. And then like people should like really use it. And then if I may ask, can you guys like share? I mean, like both of you being in those like big four consulting, and then Vinit is still in UI, and like Akhilesh and like been in the UI for like so many years, and then you both are. I can say you both are a very good like successful just like consultant. How is your life changed now?
Oh yeah, so there is a fun fact. So I always talk about building presentations, right? So consultant's first job, even though presentation is just a medium to communicate your message more effectively, and that is not going anywhere. It may be a video, it may be anything, right? So visual medium is, the best visual medium is the presentation, right? So how it has helped me is, I used couple of tools for presentations. So I have certain thought process in mind, I put that thought process, but then I may not be good in the visual aspects of how that information needs to be presented, right? So I'm not a UI designer. So yes, I can generate content of my own. I can also work with AI to generate content much more faster, to give it more structure. But then how do you present that information in a more visually appealing way, or a more way how the information should be structured on one slide? I have used UI tools extensively on that, right? So that is one aspect of things. Secondly, yes, we have certain thought process in mind when we talk about, when we are preparing on how to, help the clients. We have a certain way, certain thought process, certain sequencing of events and things that we, have in mind. Now we can put, but there might be a couple of things missed here and there. So I use the AI tools mostly for a Q&A, just to do, okay, this is my thought process, these are the things that I'm planning to cover with the customer. Okay, now you give me your, am I missing anything? And those are the aspects that the AI fills in for me. So that is, and I'm talking about how I use the AI tools internally for working. Now there are meeting tools. So we have a meeting notes taker, those are there are wide tools in the market today. So how we use those meeting tools. So let's say we are meeting with a customer or a client, we are understanding their pain points, we are having internal meeting sessions. So there are a lot of transcripts generated, thousands of transcripts. I'm exaggerating, but thousands of transcripts generated out of those meetings. So it's very difficult to keep track of, hey, what did you say the other day? So AI tools bring all of that together, and then give us a very structured format of things, so that everybody, there are at some points they are all at one page during those meetings. So we just leverage that information so that it's a win-win for everybody. So that way we are more productive, we are more taking less time to get on the same page, because everybody is leveraging the points that we had agreed upon in the past, and then we are moving forward, not just with internally in the meetings, but also with the clients. But I know Vinit
Nice.
has much more.
Yeah.
I really like the use cases that he has built or implemented. And I'm really curious how Vinit what Vinit has to share in that area.
Yeah.
And
So
I mean,
for the folks,
if you can add, like, can you start with like what do you really do in your job, like day to day, and like
yeah,
I
yeah,
know like the lot of students I have been like talked to, they have a big dream of joining this like big four as a consultant, and being you are working in like big four as a consultant for like so many years, like very like successfully. Yeah, like yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So what we do all day long is we just try our level best to look smart. That's my job profile. But apart
Isn't
from
it all
that,
people
I
are
think
like trying to do that? What's so special
especially
in
in the
like
big four.
in Big Four? All right.
Yeah. So, but in all seriousness, I think the consulting, in simple words, is just about solving big business problems using technology, anywhere from Microsoft to ServiceNow to Salesforce, you name it. Right. And some of I'll give you an example, really, which is now that I'm part of the government and public sector works that we do. Uh, like these big bulky government systems. So there is a state which manages $20 billion in grants. Like if you need assistance if some tragedy happened in your family, the government gives you some grants, right? So there are thousands of different programs like this, but all of the systems were currently running on Excel sheets. So we needed some sophisticated way where there is no leakage. All the money requested goes to the people who asked for it. And leakages can be anything from corruption to data management to how we track things, right? So for that, you always need a sophisticated system. And we built that over a period of 3 years. So now the request comes in through a website, it gets processed. There's a system that processes the payment if the people are eligible. So that is one example. And there could be several examples, right? You have thousands of problems at airport, you have thousands of problems at railway stations. So you keep taking each problem, make it into a problem statement, go through the typical consulting life cycle, which is you gather requirement around what exactly is the problem, and then you write documentation on the what the future process needs to look like, what all technologies you want to use. Then the testing happens, all those things happen, and then finally you roll it out. And the part of the life cycle is you continue to evolve those systems. So think about everyday things that you do, right from road construction projects to you using an ATM system. All of that, we somehow try to make it better. So that's consulting. And coming to the AI part of it, most of the mundane things that we did is have slowly started to go away. Like recently I ran an initiative for um, AI-based project planning. It's called AI for implementation. What we do in that one is we gather all the documentation that we have, and then the project plan is put together by the AI itself. So all the business analyst stuff or the consulting um, uh, one-on-one operations have been taken care by the AI, and what we do is high-value thinking, which is we understand the business. We implement our knowledge into it and build better processes. We build an AI orchestration layer that what human needs to do versus what AI needs to do. And then obviously as we're growing, the costs are high in implementing AI agents, so we need to keep humans in the loop. Otherwise, it will get messy. So, I mean, I can talk about use cases and how we are using AI all day long, and it still won't be enough. So, fun times are
Let me
actually.
ask you this in like different way, or like in terms of like the layman way, right? Or being very very naive. I always thought being a consultant is like you're like smart in certain areas, or like or like certain domains where you give that smartness or like a kind of advice to the other industry or the other company who wanted to kind of like leverage the same thing. um, and AI being smartest of all the consultants now, and knowledge is being kind of like democratized. And is my understanding right that all of your jobs gonna go away?
That I
Yes.
that's arguable. I mean, we can always argue about that, but then there are certain standardized way of doing things. Like there are certain best practices. There are certain ways how let's say I've seen startups grow from one point to the other, or getting acquired. So there are a lot of processes that are to be standardized, and then how the startups grow from point A to point B. So let's take an example of seed funding towards series D funding, right? So as they grow or transform as organizations, there are a lot of regulatory compliance requirements, or there are a lot of organization requirements that are to be done, right? So execution of something, there may be certain words that may be changing, there may be certain ways of working that may be changing, right? So which is one way something is required to be more stricter from a regulatory standpoint. Yeah, there are various aspects of things that as the complexity of the organization grows, the complexity of how certain things are done also changes, because the more people get involved, how the new features get communicated to the sales and marketing team, that is completely different from in within a startup than that than a full grown complex organization, because then there are a lot of layers that get involved, not just for the regulatory standpoint, but also a lot of other aspects. So I feel that yeah, it will eventually, once the ways of working is get standardized, once the data starts getting unified. Oh, I think we lost Vinit there for a bit. Yeah, so the
Okay.
more and more, yeah, the more and more data starts getting unified, then I feel that that level of automation can be achieved. I think there is a long way to go in this area. So I think companies like Microsoft, or a lot of big techs are going towards data unification, right? So they have chosen their own field. So Microsoft, they are very big on Microsoft AWS, GCP, or Google. They're very big in those are the only three platforms which has everything, right? So they have their own data unification layer. They have their own data fabric, as they call it. So data fabric is nothing but bringing all of your data together onto one platform and driving orchestrations out of it. So it doesn't matter what are the operational systems. You can decide to change 100 or use 100 different operational systems. Getting them on board on a single data unification layer, and then driving orchestrations, driving day-to-day operations out of that. So that is where all the companies need to go, and in order to do this AI automation, or mostly completely autonomous operations.
I see. What
But
do you have
yeah,
to say,
so
Mr.
to
Vinit?
long story short, AI is not
Question
taking away
on, let me
any
tell you,
jobs
being
sooner.
smart,
Sorry, Vinit,
right?
we lost you
So
there.
what is
Vinit is
okay?
breaking
Can
for
you hear
me.
me now?
Yes.
Okay, so if I am audible
Yeah,
enough,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say you talked about being smart, right? So what is smartness? Smartness is just a function of time. The more time you spend into something, you become smart in that area. Like somebody would say, "Oh my God, he's really smart. He can play guitar or piano." But what we are forgetting is the amount of time that's been spent into that. So same principle applies to AI as well. So the smarter the AI is because of the time it has spent on learning those skills. And obviously, and we have to do the same thing to be in the loop. So if you ask if the consulting jobs are going away, it's not. It's reshaping into something else. I'll give you an example of it. So I live and breathe the world of service now. So service, if you talk about service now developer role, it's not going anyway. But if you fail to change that service now developer role into AI application developer or a agentic engineer who can set up agents, because the consulting world will continue to remain the same. Remember, the objective is to solve all the big problems. So you just need to know now how do I need to use the AI knowledge and do the building. So your regular Java app developers will become AI app developers. Support engineers will become AI support engineers. AI sales force engineers, and that's how things are going to shape up going forward. So the high value taking still remains true. It's just that if the bottom line does not upgrade itself, you're setting yourself for failure.
Right. So if I can ask maybe like one more question on those like similar line, can you both of you give me maybe like a top two or three skills for the people who are like watching this to become a good, I mean, good consultant in like big four level? I mean, what skill they have to develop?
So definitely, first is their own basic skills. So let's say they're targeting for a technology role, or they are targeting for a consulting role, right? So first of all, they need to understand or get better at it. Without getting better at something, you cannot use AI, as I previously said. Secondly, AI, consider
No,
AI
no.
as.
So my question is like more of like, if I want to be a kind of consultant to give the service to the other, like not using AI, like what is the skill which you guys think you have different, like which like student has to like develop to be in that position?
So number one skill is communication. So consulting is a people job, right? First, as you mentioned,
Mhm.
laid it out in the layman terms, how we deal with people on a day-to-day basis, how, whether our knowledge we are able to share it accurately and put our messaging through to the other person, because we are the ones with the knowledge, right? We are doing 100 things, bringing best practices, working with 100 companies, and helping them set up their processes and stuff. So that is the number one skill, which is the people skill and the communication skill that these folks would need. Second comes the role in which, or the areas in which people want to consult. So for example, it can be a technology, it can be, mergers and acquisitions, it can be financial, it can be anything. So, the proper mix of people, process, and technology is what, in that specific field, is what a good consultant can be. That is my view.
All right, Mr. Vinit.
I mean, think about this from a different angle. Maybe everything is a chance. If you are going out there thinking that you will become this consultant, it still requires a chance. The only thing you can do is put in the effort and see how far you go with that. And because the trend is changing, you may not be tied to an entitlement going forward, but you definitely want to be tied to the technical abilities, the technical skill set. So, like Akhilesh, what Akhilesh mentioned, I totally resonate. Let me just take the same thing and expand it further. So, the communications is not just a consultant skill; it's a life skill. And most of us, I believe the most of the people listening here are from India. The cultural baggage we carry on the communication aspect is so heavy that it outweighs all the other skills that we have in our lives. So if I have to give one advice to the students or whoever's listening to this one is work on your communication the most. And the communication can happen through several different channels. I don't want to give you a philosophical lecture, but think about this. What is your ability to effectively communicate with your emotions? Which is, if you have to express love to someone, you would find fewer words to do so. That is also part of communication. So same principle applies throughout life, which is if you are not able to communicate your ideas that's in your head effectively to the other person, then effectively you're not communicating well. So the highest paid engineers are not the best coders, but the high chances are the highest paid engineers are the ones who can effectively communicate the whole design architecture and then produce a visual map of where things are going to be. So communication, I mean, I can speak about it all day long because I've been through that journey. I had to push myself on all directions to make sure that I am an effective communicator, which still I am not, but every single day when I wake up, I try. AI can write code, AI can do PPTs, but can you speak to the PPT remains and will always remain the key skill in the game. The second one is the problem solving. Like PJ mentioned, anybody can code now. These your open clause and your Claude covers can do magic, but are you able to stitch all of those pieces together? Not just the technical, but the problem statement to vision, to mission, to execution, to rollout, to customer management, to CRM. Can you tie it all together? Is going to be a skill of the future, right? And then needless to mention, learn about, don't learn about too much AI. What I mean by that is every day we're seeing OpenAI releases 5.1, then 5.2. Claude comes up with new versions. And then there is thousands of different technologies like Notebook, LLM, then you have Notion, then you have Lovable. So pick your niche, always pick your niche. Like, for example, I want to do something really valuable in the field of education. So not every AI tool is useful in the field of evolving the education sector, right? So pick your niche and keep track of all the AI tools that's going to be relevant for those. So that would be my piece of advice. I wish somebody told me those three things, but nonetheless.
Yeah, we become too busy. I don't want to bring anything, from the education system or that aspect. But we are so busy building our skills in one specific area of technology, or maybe one specific area of, so let's say I'm becoming a doctor and I only think about how I operate. But if I'm not able to communicate to my patients that hey, this is the complexity, but don't worry, if you are not able to as a doctor give that comfort level or build that comfort level to your patient, communication is the key there, right? So similarly in engineering, in consulting, communication is the key. So communication, I would go one level further and say soft skills. Hey, but I wanted to ask one question to both of you. I know that there are so many companies that are bringing tools every day. It can be open claw or some standardized like OpenAI, ChatGPT. There can be Claude, there can be Gemini or something. Those are like standardized in the industry today. But then there are so many things that these startups are building or bringing on a day-to-day basis, which so I'm also seeing mainly in the entertainment, creativity, creative industry, that YouTube videos or video making has become so easy today, that to cinema level. So how do people creating a lot of confusion. So how do people approach to these tools, like what is, so I don't want to get that how do people use or build those tools, or leverage those tools in the day-to-day life, but I just want your process on how you approach adopting those tools. So do you like use a lot of tools and then arrive at one tool? What is your approach?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like as you said, every minute or every second, I just like read or like see about a tool, and being like a engineer, solving the problem is one thing, and being bogged by all this like noise in the AI industry is another thing. But but I still try it. I mean, like there is a just like real challenge of you are being like your I mean your like mind being very exhausted by just like seeing all those tools. Um, I will tell like maybe like a one advice for the people like who are like starting out with like how like there is always like a difference between like who are already in those like technology area and being experienced and seen the code or like just like seen the trend, and then they are like those are the people using a tool to kind of advance or kind of accelerate their job is the one thing which is actually good. But if you are really new and you don't know the ABC of it, and then you wanted to just like read the poetry, that's not going to help you, right? uh, k- Kind of like similar sense, if you don't know about your basics and then you are using AI to solve certain thing, and if you want to become an kind of like technical person or like a or like engineering person, don't use directly the AI. Try to use your brain first and then try to solve and like learn, then use AI to like once you're good at it, then kind of augment yourself or like just like replace yourself with the AI on that one thing. So I don't even I mean, if you're new, don't even start using AI tool. Take one piece, try to be just like good at it, and then automate that with a kind of like relevant AI tool, then go to a next and then master that skill. And if you're not doing that, I think you are at a stake, and then you will be like even given like lower than like what people are here, and then you cannot get into a job market, or you cannot be in any edge for that matter, because already people who are already working, they will be like replaced by AI, and then there will be like large pool of people who already been into that journey. They are above you now. So don't replace yourself with AI. Yeah, being in like driver's seat, that's how I say, like that's how I just like skip the tools which I see. If I am not good at it, what that AI tool is using, I will very cautiously use the tool until I am being good at that one.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, let me tie it back to what I was saying earlier, which is be in your lane. If you're trying to take the whole highway to drive your car, I don't know how far you can get, but if you stick to the rightmost lane or leftmost, you'll probably get somewhere. Which is, for example, Akhilesh, you work in hotel industry and insurance industry. So not everything that's coming out, for example, lovable may not be directly applicable to what you do, but there could be a tool like a service now which is doing amazing things in insurance. That's something that you want to spend your time and explore, which you anyways do. So that's the way I would approach it. The other way to look at it is, I personally prefer wrappers over individual models. Like if ChatGPT launches 5.6 in OpenAI, but sorry, the Gemini launches version 700, I don't care in a way. I would rather go to an OpenClaw, which is a wrapper I can use to call anything, and then a Cloud Cowork or Emergent AI, which has all the amazing AI already baked into it, or a Replit, which has all of these things. So you and not only you get the goodness of those AIs, but also the wrapper's own value and all that. So That's how I'm holding things these days in the market.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right. So
this is getting interesting as we talk. So Vijay, I just want to, be mindful of the
I
time.
actually looking forward to talk to all of these 1500 plus teams, and this is going to be exciting.
Hmm.
yeah, right. Maybe we'll just like spend like maybe like 5 more minutes, and then we'll just like wrap it up. Like since we are like almost up for the minute. Just I mean like on those like similar line, right? In terms of the job or like just like career, and then what sort of skills the students has to develop right now. I will start with like maybe on the job for the people who are like already working or like very in like early stage, and then I will just like hand over to you guys to just like add on to that point. So there is like always saying in the IT industry, you have to be like visible in your team or in your kind of like department to be like recognized. And even if you're like working so hard, but if you're not, I mean, kind of like known to the people, and you, I mean, you're not being seen or like you will not be like recognized, that like doesn't mean that you have to always like boost yourself or like make things what other people can see. But you have to do the things just like right things, but at the same time just like communicate well, and like being you guys said those like top one quality of a consultant being those like communication. So being like visible, but now it's changed like little bit in the AI era, being visible to the AI tools which is tracking you. That's the another thing. So being like visible to the people and being just like visible to the tools which are tracking, like tracking you. Those are the two things I would just like be very cautious, and then
I, yeah, I want to
yeah.
talk whole day on this topic, but I will just take a few seconds, which is uh, what was sorry if you so basically what I'm trying to say is the whole education system is flawed. It is not going to teach you what is needed to be successful, and that has been true since however long you can think of. Like you only get to learn about money when you come out of your universities and colleges, and then and is anybody even talking about stock market concept in colleges? Well, in reality, that we spend months and years of our life learning and practicing that. So basically, just don't wait for anything with the advancement of AI. Nobody's asking for permission. Just get started, learn few things, and then one of the prominent areas is, like you guys said, AI prompt engineering, AI developers, or anything that starts with AI in your product field, go for it.
I'm really excited to see what people bring to the table. I'm honestly, looking forward to these, 1,500 entries, what they're bringing to the table, how they are, planning to change the world. Our prizes are, for them to use. We are here to help them across their journey as well. So I'm really excited.
Okay, all right. So just to like reiterate, this hackathon is going to be starting in just like start of this like March, and then there are like judging criterias which we like talked about, just like very, I mean, very brief, and then we will be just like publishing that in the KodeMaster website as well. And there is going to be a three thing. One is that you will get a price up to 1 lakhs at the various categories based on those like judging. And second thing is you will get this like internship opportunities for the people. And third thing is you will be given a chance to pitch your ideas in front of the industry leaders, which can bring you up to like 25 lakhs just like investment on your startup career. So the stakes are high. Just like look for more of this expert session in like coming weeks as well. And we would love to talk to you guys on like various topics. But I think just like given the time, just like wrapping up, is there any like final words you guys want to talk about before we completely wrap up?
No, I just have one thing to say: all the best.
Mm.
I'm really excited.
All right.
Yeah.
See you
Thank
guys
you.
in those coming weeks, and thank you so much for joining here. And we will talk more. See you guys. Thank you.
See you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.